What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show here on a Thursday night. It is just me today, as Eric was feeling under the weather. But boy, do we got a lot to get to in this one. The Blazers head into this game as 4.5-point favorites. It was their second game of the year in which they were favorited, and it's the second loss of the year in which they were favorited. This game had everything from 18-point deficit at one point in this game to a bad Wizards team to Anthony Simons going off in the fourth quarter. But a questionable timeout with a little over 3 minutes remaining from Chauncey Billups when the Blazers were on a run. And an awful last play where Jeremy Grant doesn't have a prayer at scoring at the rim, and the Blazers lose this game. We're going to go off about the coaching because I was not happy whatsoever with a couple of things late in this one, and honestly, it was after what I thought were a couple really good after timeout plays, which I rarely have to say about Chauncey. But the end of this game, couple brutal decisions, and it's been a running theme that we've been talking about. Can Chauncey Billups coach in close games, late in close games? Can he make the right calls? Can he set up the right plays? This Blazer team loses a ton of close games, a ton of heartbreakers, and there is some finger pointing that can be done. So I'm going to get into that. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts, so I did a chat poll. And 44% of you say Chauncey's coaching in the final minutes of this game was an F. 29% say C to D-. So it sounds like you guys are unhappy as well. So that's what we're going to get into on this post-game show. No sponsors today, but if you want to get a Manta sleep mask last-minute Christmas gift, there is a link for that in the description box below. Toss that in there, but this is going to be a short, abridged solo post-game where we just jump right into things. Layup Lounge says, I need an Eric rant. This is madness. Yes, unfortunately, Eric is under the weather because he would be going off about this type of game. I assume that the way this one ended did not make him feel any better. Obviously, in a rebuilding year, at the end of the year, we might be glad we lost this game because we might be worse than the Wizards, hoping for the best luck in terms of ping pong balls. But right now, this one hurts. Let's start off with the positive, though. Anthony Simons is a star. He's a star. Can we stop putting Anthony Simons in the same conversation as Jordan Poole? Because Anthony Simons is far better than Jordan Poole. There's a reason why I put a greater than sign pointed Ant's way in the thumbnail. Ant is a legitimate star. And he's been absolutely phenomenal this season, and he was phenomenal tonight, single-handedly leading the Blazers back into this game that they had no business being in because defensively in the first half, they were absolutely awful. 67 points given up to the Wizards in the first. Tyus Jones goes off, 9 for 15, 24 points. Kyle Kuzma goes off, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists for the Kuz. And it's frustrating, man. Jeremy Grant can't contain Kyle Kuzma. More than that, Daniel Gafford, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. This is a bad Wizards team. They were 4-22 going into this game. Now, they've been playing a little better basketball lately. I thought this game would be close, but it feels like every time the Blazers come close to turning some sort of corner, they have a letdown. First time, it was the first game they were favored in at home against the Utah Jazz, who were missing a ton of players, and the Blazers just got absolutely demolished in a game that they should have at least been in, at the very least, if not winning. And then this game, Anthony Simons has 41 points, 15 for 28 shooting, 7 for 14 from 3. Also has 7 assists with only 3 turnovers. This was a Damian Lillard-esque offensive game from Anthony Simons. You got DeAndre Ayton, 10 for 21. He had problems in this game, but he was a beast on the offensive glass. 10 rebounds on the offensive side. 5 turnovers. Got to catch passes better. He can't turn it over that much. So Ayton, at least statistically, impressive game, 23 and 16. Couple things late were frustrating with him, though, and I'll get into those when I get into the late game struggles. Jeremy Grant, 20 points, 6 for 14. Duop Reith off the bench in 10 minutes has 10 points and 5 boards. That's really good minutes off the bench from Duop Reith. Jabari Walker, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 points. Plus 18 when he was in the game. I saw somebody in chat say we lost this game when we took Jabari Walker out. Jabari Walker gave really good minutes tonight as well. I was pleased with him. Not much to write home about with Thibault and Henderson shooting off the bench, 0 for 8 combined, but Thibault had 3 steals, 3 blocks. He made some plays on defense, including a play that got the Blazers a chance to win with 6 seconds left. He got a steal. They called it a foul. Chauncey challenged it. It got overturned. We got the tip, and then the final play, I don't even want to go into it yet because I do want to start this stream off with some positives. And the positive is Anthony Simons. We talked about with the Blazers trading Dame, they needed their star long term. That guy is Anthony Simons. Like, everything right now starts with Anthony Simons. Taylor Packer says, yo, Tory Billups said postgame that he called a play for Ant and JG just decided to go one-on-one. At least that's what he saw on Rip City Reddit. Last game, people were saying a couple games ago, people were saying Chauncey said this and that, and some of it was right and some of it wasn't. So, like, I'm not just going to believe Rip City Reddit, but if you guys can confirm that's what Chauncey said, then please do, because I'd love to talk about his comments if those indeed were his comments. I trust Taylor 100%, but I don't necessarily trust Rip City Reddit. But here's the thing. If that's truly what Chauncey said, that's 2 games out of the last 3 where the Blazers blatantly misexecuted in the final moments of a game. Because against Golden State, Chauncey Billups said he wanted a timeout to be called, but the guy who he literally just subbed into the game didn't call the timeout when he got the rebound. That was DeAndre Ayton. He outletted it to Sharp. Sharp started running down the court, right? So that game against Golden State showed me, man, he can't even communicate to his team when he wants a timeout late in the game, even when he literally was just standing next to the dude because he just subbed DeAndre Ayton in. And then in this game, if the play was truly for Ant, what was the play then? What was the play then to get Ant the ball? Like, that play made no sense. There was, like, nothing on that play. It was baffling to me. And that also does sound like Chauncey throwing Jeremy Grant under the bus. But the thing is, like, what is Jeremy Grant supposed to do? What, was it inbound to Grant and then hand the ball off to Ant as he runs from half court? Was that the play? Taylor says the play was supposed to be the exact same play as the one before, supposedly. I mean, you also cannot do that. So, Chauncey late game coaching has serious issues, serious problems. He does not know what he's doing late in the game. I'll give Anthony Simons some more props later. I got to rant about this. I wanted to start off the stream with something positive, but I can't. I can't with Chauncey, man. You cannot run the same play that just ran. You know what's funny? Is he had the 2 best out of timeout plays that I've maybe ever seen him have earlier in the fourth quarter. In the second one, the Wizards did a great job of defending it. We didn't get a shot, but I actually thought it was a really smart play. And that was Anthony Simons. They ran some inbounds where they threw it into Malcolm Brogdon in the post and had Anthony Simons run around a couple screens towards the ball and got an open 3 and cashed it in because Anthony Simons was cashed tonight. And then the second play after a timeout, they set things up in the same exact way. Instead of Ant running along the three-point line towards the ball, he had Malcolm Brogdon spin baseline and Ant run the opposite direction towards the baseline for a corner 3, right? So using the same play, using the same setup to try and create a shot going the other way, right? Like, that's smart coaching. You don't run the same play back-to-back times in a close pressure situation. They literally just saw the play. So that just shows me he has nothing in his bag, man. Chauncey has nothing in his bag late in the game. He's running the same play. But the thing is, like, at least they would have gotten Anthony Simons the ball. Like, it could have worked out and looked genius, right? Because Anthony Simons looked absolutely genius. He had 22 in the fourth quarter. Might have been more, like I think it was 22. Correct me if I'm wrong. 22 in the fourth quarter. He goes off. You got to get him the ball. And if the play was the same exact play and you can't even get your guys to execute it, I mean, like, sure, blame Jeremy Grant, but man, why can't Chauncey Billups players ever execute what he supposedly wants late in games? Especially when they just ran it. They should be able to execute it again. So what are we doing? If Jeremy didn't run the set right, some blame goes to him, but also you have to question why Chauncey Billups can't get his players to properly execute what he wants late in games. And here's the thing. Wins and losses at the end of the day this season probably don't matter. But what matters is we have a coach that once we are ready to win can help us win. This is an evaluation period for Chauncey. And he, in my opinion, is failing. So, if Jeremy screwed the play up, I mean, that's twice in 3 games. It's not even a young player. That's twice in 3 games where a veteran has supposedly been completely unable to do a basic thing that Chauncey asked him late in the game. I find that very baffling. I find it baffling and kind of unlikely that in the timeout, Chauncey was saying, Jeremy, we're inbounding it to you, and then you're going to hand it off to Ant. And Jeremy just got the ball and said, nah, screw it, I'm doing my own thing. I don't know. Just very, very weird stuff, man. And the thing is you can say, look at the talent on the floor, this and that. We had a much more talented lineup than the Washington Wizards tonight. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? These excuses don't fly in games like this. But the thing is those excuses never fly because at the end of the day, sure, if you lose games because of talent, you lose games because of talent. But that's why you can't evaluate coaching just by looking at the box score and looking at are they winning and losing games against good or bad teams. You gotta see what's happening. What's happening is confusing to me, man. So anyway, shout out to Chris S., member for 34 months, getting close to that 3-year member badge, which we have 3-year member badges now. Chat, if you guys want to become channel members, click the join button below or beg for somebody to gift channel memberships because that's always fun and it is Christmas, so, maybe someone is generous enough to give you some gifts. If somebody gives memberships, it's randomly selected out of chat. I have no control over it. It's always interesting to see who gets it. But Chris S., member for 34 months, says, let's not overcomplicate it. Chauncey doesn't know what he's effing doing. This team is sloppy and disorganized. Ant couldn't save us. The thing is in the past, it was always Dame, save us. Ant today looks like Dame, and he can't even properly execute Ant, save us. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Fox says he wants a membership. Well, click that join button. I don't know what we're doing. It's frustrating to lose a game like this. It's frustrating to not be able to get Ant the ball there, but also the Blazers were on a run with over 3 minutes to play. Chauncey would have lost a timeout once the clock went under 3 minutes. Okay? While the Blazers have a ton of momentum, he calls a timeout with, let me get the exact timestamp. He calls a timeout with 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. The Blazers were cooking offensively. The Moda Center was rocking for maybe the first time this season. It's not the first time, but it feels like the first time this season. There's a lot of momentum. The offense looks great. They get a big stop, down 112 to 111. And Chauncey Billups calls timeout with 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining because he's going to lose the timeout. So he uses it. After that, the Blazers, out of the timeout, Anthony Simons misses a 3-footer. You can say, decent shot, whatever. Still, like to ride the momentum. Okay? Whenever the Blazers have momentum and a timeout gets called, they immediately struggle after that. Normally, it's the other team calling the timeout. There's been so many times where the Blazers are on a run, opposition calls a timeout, and then they go on a 7-0 run. I've talked about it all year. This time, it was us calling the timeout to stop our own run. So after that, Anthony Simons misses a shot. Wizards come down. Kyle Kuzma misses the first shot, but Denny Avdia gets a offensive rebound put back on a ball that I think DeAndre Ayton probably should have gotten. Okay, his defensive rebounding became a little bit of a problem here late in the game. Okay, the next play down, Jeremy Grant, offensive foul turnover. I mean, I think before that timeout, we had buckets on the last 4 possessions? The last 5 possessions. No, the last 7 possessions. I'm going back in the play-by-play. Oh my God, man. Like, legitimately, this is a joke. So the Blazers called a timeout with 6:37 remaining. They were down 14, right? After that, 6:22, Anthony Simons makes 25-foot three-point jumper. Okay? Next play down. Ant misses a 15-footer, but Ayton gets an offensive rebound and makes a putback. So 2 possessions around. Next possession down, Jabari Walker makes a 2-point shot. Okay? Next possession down, Malcolm Brogdon misses a layup. DeAndre Ayton, offensive rebound. I mean, his offensive rebound was great. And then he gets a putback. So that's 4 possessions in a row. Okay. Next possession down, Anthony Simons makes a 3. Next possession down, Anthony Simons gets a dunk. The Wizards call timeout. So there's just a timeout. But then after that, Ayton misses a 5-foot 2-point shot. Ayton gets an offensive rebound, and then Malcolm Brogdon made that 17-foot floater. He has like the deepest floaters in the league, by the way. Then Jordan Poole gets a flopping technical and makes a technical free throw. So the 7 possessions before that timeout, the Blazers had scored on. Maybe it was 8. 7, 8. They scored on every possession. Then the Blazers call timeout with 3 minutes, 5 seconds left. Don't score on the next 2 possessions. I mean, you could say that might have happened anyway, but the momentum was on our side, man. The Moda Center was rocking. Why the hell are you calling a timeout with the momentum on our side down 1 when we've scored on 7 straight possessions and the crowd is on their feet just because you might lose it? What is the point? It doesn't make sense. Drives me crazy. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's just like Chauncey trying to be too smart. He's just overthinking. Just keep running with the momentum, man. Am I wrong? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And they had opportunities to win this game, but man, it's just stuff like that. Like, it's always questionable stuff late in close games with Chauncey. It always is. Ethan says, not to mention we were on an advantage fast break when he called that timeout. Yeah, get out and run. Like, we finally, offensively, have found some sort of flow with Anthony Simons back. We're in a rhythm. We got a chance to attack and transition. We've been waiting for this sort of offense all year long. Why the hell are you calling a timeout, man? It pisses me off, actually. It doesn't just baffle me, it pisses me off. Javon says, you do realize Chauncey tells Grant to play like that, right? Grant has even said he's not comfortable with taking the shots he's taking, but Chauncey is encouraging him. Well, apparently Chauncey didn't encourage him today, I guess. And he, I don't know. Trevor says the last play was also Chauncey trying to be too smart. I don't even know about that because it was the same play he just ran. I think that's Chauncey just not being smart. You get the ball in Ant's hands there and you let him go to work. That was his... It's just like games like this, right? Anthony Simons already has respect across the league. And I know it's just against Washington, but in a way, a game winner there, like, this is a coming out party. If he finishes with 43, 44, game winner, like, he's establishing himself as a star. That should have been his moment to succeed or fail in, right? Instead, we get a Jeremy Grant, like, left hand, thinking he's Kareem hook shot that hits nothing but glass. On a good defensive player. Even though he's a rookie, Bilal Coulibaly is a good defensive player. And played that possession really well defensively. Taylor says, hey man, maybe he's playing chess and securing the tank. Yeah, maybe, man. Problem is, it's been a problem for 3 years. And I'm getting tired of it. Shout out to JD to Dev with a $5 donation. No message on it, though. JD, let me know if you left a message on it, and I will read it off on air. Is there anyone in chat who thinks I'm over-criticizing Chauncey? Let me know. Let me know if I'm being a little too hard on him. I mean, I've legitimately tried to give this dude a chance. People were getting mad at me because I was defending him too much last season. They were saying, when are you going to criticize Chauncey? You're, games like this, I'd sit here defending him. Like, I've truly tried to give him as much of a chance as possible. But it's just time and time again. There's just so many questionable things from him late in close games. And we lose so many close games. We lose so many games in the fourth quarter. Games that shouldn't be close become close because we can't score in the fourth quarter. We have offensive lulls all the time. Like, it's just fourth quarter, I don't trust him. Like, if he's still here once this team gets good, I feel like we will lose a playoff series because he will get out-coached in the fourth of a crucial game. Or late in a crucial game. Taylor says, no, I think you were pretty spot on. However, I don't know if I'm worked up about the timeout. Momentum can shift at any second, but if he had a game plan late and wanted to talk it over, whatever. Okay, sure. If his game plan ever worked out of a timeout late. Like, his game plan out of timeouts late, like, it feels like 90% of the time doesn't work. JD Dedev says, hey, meant to say even the radio broadcast was upset with the coaching at the end. Thank you for your donation, and thank you for letting us know. That's surprising, because broadcasting, whether it's radio or TV, seems to just give all the excuses and Chauncey the benefit of the doubt, and hey, props. Props then. Yeah. So if the radio is questioning it, then my criticisms are definitely valid. Definitely valid. I will talk about the ant Chris of Pete says, you're not talking, and then in all caps, about the ant choke layup. I mean, yeah, you should have finished that. I mean, that was a great move, though, and he carried us the whole fourth quarter. Like, he went off. The only reason they were in position to miss that layup was because Ant had absolutely carried him, so, like, I'm going to give him a pass. Michael Holton about to get fired. Bro, I mean, if he gets fired for questioning the coaching late in a game like that, then I will be the first one there. I will make a whole video about it, blasting this organization. Because, yeah, it was very questionable. Ayton missed 2 bunnies in a row. Yeah, I mean, like, there's criticism can go to, like, Ant missed the layup. Ayton got to finish one of those 2 layups, dude. Like, you're a 7-footer. Dunk the ball! Just dunk it, please! It was funny because, you know, in case you guys don't know, a lot of you do, but in case you don't, I have friends that cover the Phoenix Suns, Suns Valley podcast. Last game was fun going live with them for a watch party and winning. But I have friends that cover them, and they're always like, one of their first videos they ever uploaded was like, will Ayton ever dunk the ball again? Like, now I truly understand where they were coming from. At the time, I was like, he seems like he dunks a lot. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. Ayton had an incredible stat line while doing some of the dumbest things on a court. Absolutely. That's who he is. That's who he is. Like, that's who he is. I mean, he has 10 offensive rebounds, 16 rebounds as a whole. His offensive rebounding was great, but, like, late... Bro, this dude, 15 seconds left. Kyle Kuzma's shooting his second free throw. We're down 2. 15 seconds left, down 2. So crucial moment. Kuzma at the line. He misses the second free throw. Ayton doesn't even box out on the free throw. Dog, if you can't box out late in a game, a 2-point game, on a free throw and give up an offensive rebound because of it, I don't care what you went from the field. I don't care that you went 23 and 16. Your job as a center, one of the biggest and most important things as a center, is to box out and rebound. Control the defensive glass. Okay? He made up for it with a ton of offensive rebounds, but bro, that stuff just bugs me because it shows me he's not locked in late in a game. Can't even box out, man? Really? He just walks into the paint on the second free throw. That stuff drives me more crazy than anything. Because that's just like an effort laziness thing. Right? And then you go back to the Warriors game. Maybe Chauncey did tell him to call a timeout and he just didn't call a timeout. I don't know. But that's the problem is like, with this team, we have guys that do questionable stuff, right? We got a front court without an edge on the boards. Like, and then you got Chauncey doing all this dumb stuff. Like, people all season, the Blazers will have a good game. And they'll say, they're close to turning a corner. Chauncey Billups has them playing hard. But I never believe it. I never believe it because I always feel like a game like this will happen where we're favored, we should win, we have more talent on the court, and we're playing at home. And it's just dumb stuff late in a close game after we screw around for the first half. We got to fix that to ever turn a corner. This year, next year, 5 years from now, we got to fix that. Maybe that comes with a different coach. Maybe Chauncey finally pulls his head out of his ass. Maybe it comes with a different center. I don't know. But bro, if you can't box out with 15 seconds left, down 2 on a free throw, what the hell are we doing? Ayton is frustrating, man. Ayton is so frustrating. I truly tried to give Ayton as much of a chance as possible, too. Like, people have gotten on me for criticizing him. I just don't like players that aren't locked in close in games, and I think he's not giving full effort. He doesn't fly around defensively like he should. Just feels like he just kind of floats around and, like, occasionally he'll have a really impressive mid-range jumper or spin move at the rim and 4-foot fadeaway. And sometimes he'll get some offensive rebounds and have a good game because of it, right? Like, this was a 23-16. But that's the problem if you just look at the box score to analyze games compared to actually watching this dude night in, night out. And I think that was the problem when people said they wanted Ayton, but they never truly watched Ayton beyond just a few games with the Phoenix Suns. They didn't understand what Ayton was. If you watch him a few games with the Phoenix Suns and don't really pay attention to him hard, yeah, he looks good. And then you look at the box score and he'll have a game like this, and it's like, dang, yeah, that's a really good player. Meanwhile, he's being fed by Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Like, he's going to have some points as a 7-footer being fed by Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So, the other problem is he can't catch a pass. Like, it's funny because a lot of Blazer fans, when we got Ayton, were excited because a lot of them said that, yeah, we finally have a big that can catch passes. And it was funny because I saw a lot of Suns fans saying, what are you talking about? He can't catch passes. Ayton's hands sell at least a possession a game. So, stats mean something, but yeah, he looks fun. I mean, he was great on the offensive glass. Still, though, like, I have a hard time giving a big man credit for scoring 23 points when they don't shoot threes and go under 50% from the field. It's just not efficient. He's not efficient for a center. He's like no more efficient. Like Nurkic wasn't efficient for a center either. But that was the point. Is like Ayton's not a more efficient player than Nurk. Meanwhile, I trust Nurk to do the little things. Ayton's true shooting percentage going into this game was 57.7%. True shooting percentage is the best gauge for efficiency, in my opinion, that there is. Because people say, oh, well, it takes free throws into account. Well, getting to the free throw line is a very efficient play. If he was getting to the free throw line more, our offense would be more efficient because of it. Because he's an 82.8% free throw shooter, right? So if he gets to the line, that's most times 2 points. That's efficient offense. So that's why true shooting percentage, it's the best efficiency metric out there. Okay? Ayton this season, going into this game, 57.7%. Nurkic last season, 58.9%. Going into this game, Ayton scoring at a lower volume and on a worse efficiency than Yusuf Nurkic, and doesn't shoot threes like Nurkic did last year, and isn't as good of a passer as Nurkic was. Also, I don't think he's a better rebounder. And then you watch the first half, you see the defense looking this way, and it's like, is Ayton really having an impact on the defense? Is he truly better than Yusuf Nurkic? I don't know. Like, it's a legitimate debate. So when you look at one guy making $16 million and one guy making $32 million, that's the biggest difference maker for me. But shout out to Joe Cronin for insisting to get Tamani Kamara in that deal. because Jason Quick just wrote about Tamani Kamara, and he said Cronin insisted that they get Tamani Kamara in that deal. Huge props for that. That is the best thing that Joe Cronin has done in his tenure as Portland Trail Blazers GM, is insist that Tamani Kamara be in that trade. And when we made that trade, this isn't just hindsight. When we made that trade, I said, if he insisted on getting Tamani Kamara back, that's a huge W. That's what I said on the day the trade happened. When I saw Tamani Kamara included in that trade, I was shocked. That's the best negotiating move in Cronin's career. It's also the only thing that's saving this trade right now. I love Tamani. Can't stand Aiden. It's frustrating. But good thing you got Tamani. And you can... Is Aiton's contract really hurting the team a ton? I think it eliminates some potential avenues to accumulate assets. But A, would those materialize? And B, would it be better assets than Tamani Kamara is? I don't know. So... Ron says Torrey rebounding is also the power forward's job. He had 2. Yeah, I've been very critical of Jeremy Grant's rebounding for the last year and a half. At this point, it's like you just expect him to... You expect him to not rebound. But like that final free throw with Kyle Kuzma, it wasn't... The ball didn't go to Jeremy Grant. The ball went to DeAndre Ayton, and he wasn't boxing out. If he boxed out, he would... I know it came off the rim hard and like came right back at him. But if he's boxing out, he has more space between him and the rim and has more time to react and catch the ball. He had a big offensive rebound down the stretch. Like, he did some good things in this game, but you're paying a lot of money for a guy for this to be an amazing game for him, you know? Especially with some of the mistakes that were made. Shout out to MGJJ123, $10 donation. Says, Thank you, Tori and Eric, for your show after every game. Very entertaining. Completely right about that timeout with 3 minutes, killing the momentum. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for your donation. Merry Christmas to you, too. I'm glad we entertain you. That's the goal at the end of the day. Yeah, and I understand why some people won't agree with criticizing Chauncey for that timeout. Like, oh, yeah, momentum could flip. Like, momentum isn't real, or momentum is, you know... There was a timeout with 4 minutes left to go, and they scored the 2 possessions out of that. Like, I understand why somebody wouldn't be critical of that, but I just view it differently. Yeah, and I know a lot of you do too. Thank you for your donation. And, yeah, I mean, he agrees as well. So, who's your favorite player this year on the Blazers? Anthony Simons, Tamani Kamara. It's so bizarre how bad Jeremy Grant is at rebounding. I absolutely agree. I've given up trying to figure it out. It doesn't make sense to me. Does not make sense to me at all. Kenny D says, I'll look on the bright side. We have a better shot at Alex Sarr. Absolutely. At the end of the day, we could be happy we lost this game. You know? In the moment, it's frustrating how we lost this game. Because I do not trust Chauncey to be the coach for this team when they're ready to win. So it's like, if we're tanking to get Alex Sarr, but we're keeping Chauncey, what's the point? It's kind of how I look at it. Because sure, Alex Sarr makes us better. But is Chauncey the right coach for a team trying to win playoff series? Because in playoffs, a lot of games are close. A lot of games are super competitive. If you can't make the right calls, if you can't effectively coach late in games, that is a huge detriment. Also, the playoffs are a game of adjustments. I don't trust his adjustments. That's why I'm out on Chauncey. He might be fine for a rebuilding team. Like, I understand if they keep him the rest of the year. It's just like, you gotta find something else. Gotta find something else. I wasn't a big fan of Stotts when he ended his tenure here. That doesn't mean that any coach that replaced him I was going to be a fan of. I'm also critical of Chauncey for some of the same reasons I was critical of Terry Stotts. The thing is, though, Terry Stotts actually had some results to back it up. No, it's easy when you have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, two perfect defenders in Aminu and Harkless. Like, he had a really underrated roster, in my opinion. People act like he drug that roster to the heights it went to. I think it was Dame that drug that roster, right? That's an old conversation for another day. But end of the day, you got to be able to adjust in playoff series. You got to be able to execute different things. It's been a problem for a while, no matter who's on this roster, so. Would Monty be a good coach option if he leaves Detroit? How bad things are going in Detroit has made me just completely not, I don't know. Like, Monty's, like, that team made a finals. That's the thing when analyzing coaching is it's tough if you just look at results, because some situations, it doesn't matter who's the coach, like, they're going to win games, right? But then I look at, like, Philadelphia this year, they have Nick Nurse. Their record would be far worse with Doc Rivers right now, in my opinion. So, I wish we had Nick Nurse. I'll take a chance. I see Becky Hammond mentioned in chat. I'll take a chance on Becky Hammond. Like, but I don't think Chauncey's getting fired after this year. I think Chauncey will be back next year. It's just too much of this. I want to see him improve. We talk about player development and improvement this year for players. I want to see it from Chauncey. I'm not. And I understand people will disagree with what I'm criticizing him for, but the thing is that the fact that we have so many arguments around Chauncey with questionable stuff late in games is a bad sign. We should listen to Chauncey's post-game interview. Yeah, this is going to be a shorter stream. Like, I'm probably going to end it here in about 25 minutes or so. So I think, if I run out of things to say, sure. But if not, you guys can watch it after. I get a little wary about playing interviews on stream, too. I will occasionally, but I do get a little wary of it. Just because it's like playing somebody else's video on a stream, that sort of thing. You guys know I try and avoid the copyright issues at all. Justin Payne says, I honestly am of the opinion that our defense has improved. LOL, am I crazy? No, you're not crazy. I mean, we had like the worst defense in the league last year, and now our defense is not statistically the worst defense in the league last year. So you're factually correct, but it's not really saying anything because our defense was awful last year, and our defense still is not good. Gave up 118 at home to the Washington Wizards. They have the 25th ranked offense in the league. Defensively, we have the 21st ranked defense and adjusted defensive rating in the league. And people say their defensive rating was like top 10 earlier in the season, but their adjusted defensive rating was far lower. They weren't playing a lot of good offenses. Now it doesn't matter if they're playing a good or bad offense, they're giving up almost 120 points. They had a stretch where they had 4 games in a row where they're giving up over 120 points because they faced a couple of good offenses. So the thing is, though, DeAndre Ayton is not flying around defensively like he was to start this season, and that's a big difference because the Blazers rely heavily upon their center because they give up a ton of shots at the rim. They give up the second highest rate of shots within 5 feet. They give up the third best percentage on shots within 5 feet. So not only do they let teams get to the rim a ton, they also let them finish. There's no rim protection. People say DeAndre Ayton's a rim protector. Where's the rim protection? How are teams finishing at the third highest clip within 5 feet? Now, there's a lot of blame to go to other things, and part of it is by choice because we run teams off the line and we do gamble a lot and try and force a lot of turnovers. That's kind of our identity, so you're going to give up more shots at the rim. If you're really valuing DeAndre Ayton as a rim-protecting center, though, you would like to see less shots go in. Because a very high percentage of shots go in. And it's a problem. The thing is, last year, we gave up the most shots at the rim in the league. But guess what? We gave up the 16th best percentage. We were like average in terms of efficiency at the rim last year. And that was with tanking. The thing is, I thought Nurk deterred a lot of shots on the interior last year. I thought Nurk was solid. I'm not seeing the same level of deterrence. I don't know if Ayton's a better rim protector than Yusuf Nurkic. At least not this year. I mean, the amount of shots we give up at the rim is basically identical, but the percentage we give up is noticeably better. We still have Jeremy Grant as the starting power forward. What else explains it? I don't know. There could be other things that explain it. So I'm not making a fully definitive statement, but it raises a question. Is DeAndre Ayton really a legitimate rim protector? That's the thing, is I try and be fair to Ayton. Okay, some people just say I hate him, but if I critique him, I try and have a legitimate reason for it. I try and have something that backs up me raising questions like this. It's not just, oh, I'm going to go out here on a post-game show. I'm going to hate on Ayton today. I've given him props for some things he did in this game. Very impressive statistical game, right? But there's legitimate question marks, man. So I always try and be fair to every player on this team. Like, I don't want to get it confused. I know people say I pick and choose favorites and hate whatever. I always try and have something that backs up my criticism. That's why I'm bringing these stats to the table too, because it raises legitimate questions. The stats alone, no matter how you feel about Ayton, you have to wonder why teams are shooting better at the rim against us this year than they did last year when we tanked like crazy the last month. Our defense has fallen off since Simons got healthy. It's time to trade him. Another one of these people. Another people that fall into the logical fallacy that correlation equals causation. Shout out to that dude in chat. He didn't need to watch any of these recent games. He just needed to look at our defensive rating and then see if Anthony Simons was in the box score. And our defensive rating has gone down and Anthony Simons is back in the box score. Oh, he must be the reason. Time to trade him. He had 41 today. He's a star. Guess what? If the defense is struggling around Anthony Simons, get better freaking defenders to put around Anthony Simons then. How about that? Because Anthony Simons is a legitimate offensive star right now. On his own. You got 8 other players playing. If the defense is really that bad with Anthony Simons, get better freaking defenders around him. Very simple. Anthony Simons is not solely responsible for our defense. And it's funny because Ayton's come back and has not flown around the same way. Like, you can see problems in other areas. We start playing better teams. But people just have takes where they don't even have to watch the game. They can just see if somebody's in the box score and how it correlates with anything else happening and then jump to conclusions without ever having to watch basketball. Drives me crazy. And that's what a lot of the Ant hate is just cliche stuff. Like, he doesn't make his teammates better, and look at the defense since he's returned. It started to struggle, so it's his fault. Drives me crazy. Simons, okay, he's so bad, man. I actually like the good young Blazers, but Simons is trash, and no amount of chucking or hot games will prove me different. We need a defensive stopper at the 1. Okay, bro. Okay, man. Was Steph a defensive stopper when Golden State was winning all those championships? Was Steph an amazing defender at the 1? Could the Warriors have won more championships if they traded Steph Curry for Alex Caruso? Maybe. Maybe it should. Steph Curry should be a Chicago Bull. The Chicago Bulls would actually be worse right now than they are right now if they traded Caruso for Steph Curry. Because you got to have a defensive stopper at the 1. Never mind the fact that, we still would have given up 113 points and would have scored 80 in this game. We would have lost by 35. But nah. The defense was never that good. I was the one sitting here saying, when people were saying, the defense is really good. No, it's not. The defense was never good. We would be better if we traded Anthony Simons for Marcus Smart. How's Marcus Smart helping the Grizzlies right now? What's the Grizzlies' record with Marcus Smart playing? And then you look at Tyus Jones tonight, who Memphis traded for Marcus Smart. I like Marcus Smart as a player better than Tyus Jones, but this year, Memphis. Let's see. No, I'm looking at last year. That's why they're not near the bottom. Memphis this year, 27th ranked offensive rating. 8th ranked defensive rating. This is adjusted offenses, adjusted O rating, and adjusted D rating. They're 8-19. They need offense. They desperately need offense. That's the thing, is we're so used to having a bad defense that we take for granted somebody like Ant who can do what Ant can do. Did you not watch how brutal this offense was earlier in the season? We were the last ranked offense before Ant came back. Ant has come back and made this offense look completely different. Meanwhile, you got DeAndre Ayton. He's not playing as hard. Okay. We give up one of the highest rates of shots at the rim and one of the best percentages at the rim. Okay. We actually made teams miss more shots at the rim last year, and Anthony Simons was playing. So why are we allowing a higher percentage of shots at the rim? Also, you got to have a balance, and our offense is worse than our defense. I know everybody wants to go out there and lose games like 90-80, like this is the 1970s. But this is 2023. You got to have a balance of both. Hell, I'll even go on to say I'd trade Ant for Javon Carter and Pat Williams, maybe even attach a pick. Well, thank you for letting us all know that you are absolutely a troll that should not be taken seriously. I'm sorry, but that is just an awful take. What are we doing? What are we talking about here? This dude's an absolute star. I don't understand the hate for anybody that is a star caliber player offensively. Guess what? A lot of teams have stars that aren't responsible for their defense, but they are fine defensively because they put good defensive players around them. Believe it or not, the Blazers one season were ranked as a top 10 defense with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum in the backcourt. Believe it or not. And why was that? They had Al-Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless, and Yusuf Nurkic was a top 5 rim protector in the league before he broke his leg. He was phenomenal. We made teams miss the majority of their shots compared to the rest of the field at the rim. So I'm just tired of the Simons hate. I'm tired of the Simons hate. There's Blazer fans that actually think like this. Drives me crazy. Anyway. Shout out to Ant. Everything starts and ends with Ant in terms of this rebuild as far as I'm concerned at this point, because there's a very real chance that Scoot Henderson never plays at this level, because I think Scoot Henderson could be an all-star caliber player without scoring the ball like Ant can, but he'd have to be really well-rounded everywhere else. Scoot, I have a lot of patience with, okay? I don't know what he's going to become, but you got to have patience with him. You don't know. You do have something that's legitimate, though, and that's Anthony Simons. So you run with that. You try and put the right front court around Ant and around Shaedon Sharpe, because Sharpe has proven he's at least a solid starting 2-guard in this league, with obviously the upside for a lot more. So you get the right starting front court around them that can play some defense. Ant's defense is not horrendous like people act like either, but whatever. Tankathon tonight? Yes, we'll do a Tankathon. I'm tired of the Ant hate. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Simons is a star, absolutely agree. I mean, what is he? He's been efficient this year. He started passing the ball better. He's like doubled his free throw rate. I mean, everything you want Anthony Simons to do to become a star, he's done. Other than become Drew Holiday defensively. He's not Drew Holiday defensively. So, he has done that. But everything else offensively, like, man, he can take over games. Without him, we lose this game by 20. There's been so many games lately where it's like, if you replace him with somebody else, the defense ain't no better. But the offense is far, far worse, and we've seen that. We're the worst team in the league for a stretch without Anthony Simons. Right now, we are not the worst team in the league. We beat the Suns last game. Like, we've been competitive in a lot of games since Ant's come back. The problem is we're not getting it done defensively, but that's, sure, maybe Ant is a little bit of a cause for it, but you got 9 rotation players that contribute to the defense. No one player is ever going to make as drastic of an impact offensively as people act like Anthony Simons is making. They're just looking at the fact that his return correlates with the defense starting to play worse, and they're attributing the cause to the correlation, which is a logical fallacy. So, stop doing that. Please. Anyway. Chat, what do you want me to talk about? We got about maybe 10 minutes left on this postgame show. We'll do Tankathon at the end of it. I won't be there for... Maybe I will be there for Saturday's postgame show. I'm celebrating Christmas on the 23rd on Saturday, so we'll see. And with Eric feeling under the weather, I don't know exactly. That is pretty late, like 9:30, so... Right? That game's at 7, chat? Let me double check. The Blazers go into San Francisco to play the Warriors at 5:30. Ugh. Yeah. That's tough. We'll see. We'll figure it out for Saturday. Nah, take Christmas off whatever day you celebrate. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I just... Getting Eric set up is a lot of work, and then I don't know if he's going to be feeling good or not, so we'll see. But, well, I don't know the last time I missed a postgame show. It's been years, so don't want to ruin that streak. You know what I mean? I take pride in that. We're here after each and every Blazer game, win or loss. We don't just show up after wins like other channels might. We're here, win or loss, good or bad. We'll talk about the good, we'll talk about the bad. We'll keep it real. We're not just going to placate to any sort of success and then wash over the negative and pretend like it doesn't exist. That's not what we do. We all take Bradley Beal for Grant and Jabari Walker. No. Why would we want Bradley Beal? We have a million guards. We have Scoot, Brogdon, Ant, and Sharp. Why would we add Beal for 2 frontcourt players just to clog that up even more and get in the way of them? Doesn't make sense. I have no interest in adding any guard, basically. Unless they're, really young, high upside, you get them for a really good deal that you can't say no. Like, if we could trade a couple of seconds for Jaden Ivey, screw it. Then you got to get rid of Brogdon, and you still got some logjam problems, but, that's too good of a value to pass up for a high upside guy. Other than that, no way. No way. Code says I'm desperate. I feel you, bro. I feel you. The Suns are... I understand the pain that you're going through with your Phoenix Suns. We need to fair Simons for Zach LaVine. What? Can we get Zach LaVine? Why would we want Zach Guys, why are we trying to get guards? Why would we... What's the purpose? Okay. I want you guys to, ask me questions about trade candidates, trade targets, etc. But before you do, I want you to think, would there be any purpose to going after this player? How would that work with the players we already have? Think about it a little bit before you ask the question. This channel is entertainment, right? So, I'll troll here and there. Just like chat trolls me, okay? It's a two-way street. It's not just a one-way street. But I also hope to educate a little bit. Maybe that sounds conceited or self-righteous or whatever, but, I've tried to take the time to learn the CBA as best I can, to understand trades as best I can. So I'm going to challenge you guys to think about it a little bit more as well. So that's the thing with like a Zach LaVine is like, what's the purpose? How does he fit with all the guards we have here? Like, if anything, he gets in the way of our development and we still don't win anything. Zach LaVine is a great fit around Simons. Why wouldn't you just have Shaedon Sharpe far cheaper the next 3 years, who can do most of what Zach LaVine can do next to Anthony Simons and has the potential to be better than Zach LaVine long term? You know? Like, why would we get in the way of Sharpe to get Zach LaVine? What type of players do Billups need for his system? I don't know. This year, Billups had his sort of players, and last year he had his sort of players, and every year he has his players finally, and then they end up not being his players. It's kind of a running joke, like Chauncey has his guys now, because at the end of the year it'll be like Chauncey hates his whole team. I actually heard that about like the team last year going into the offseason. Like, Chauncey hated like 3/4 of his roster. I didn't know whether to believe it or not, but that was something I heard. Like, wouldn't be surprised. It feels like Chauncey thinks highly of guys when we bring them in, and then once he starts coaching them, he sours on them. Which is why that's a running joke. How can we trade for Michael Jordan? Donnie says he literally just said no one on this team is alpha. Chauncey did? Maybe we do have to listen to his post-game press conference. Screw it. Screw it. Is it up, chat? We can do it. We can do it. Actually, I'll just play it on my phone. It's easier. And I can still see chat and like watch his facial expressions. Where's his press conference? It's not up. He really said nobody's an alpha? Bruh. So what? Is Anthony Simons not good enough to be an alpha? Like, if he went and coached the Denver Nuggets, is Nikola Jokic not the alpha? If he went and coached in... Like, Dame was the alpha. He knew that. Just, that comment's weird. That comment is weird if that's what he said. I don't know if he said that or not. I'm just going off chat. I can only put so much trust in chat, but I think you read that wrong. Oh, never mind. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to hear his interview, but it's not up. He said that last game. If he did say that, it's a weird comment. If he didn't, then he didn't. That's my thoughts. Ayton is a good fit here. They're still getting used to how to use him. How do you use him, though? Gregory, how do you use DeAndre Ayton? That's my question. Anthony Simons is the alpha. He's the star. No doubt about it. If his interview comes up in the next 5 minutes, I'll listen to it. Otherwise, we're not going to do that. We're going to chill on that. Ayton isn't a guy I want long term. He's like a piece. This isn't true because of his contract, but he's like one of those players that it's nice to have them if it's like a luxury, but he's not the type of guy that helps lead you anywhere. If that makes sense. Tumani is an effing alpha. I love it. On defense, he is. On defense. I mean, that's... Anthony Simons is as close as you'll get probably to Damian Lillard in a long time. in a long time. I need to see the stats including... Okay, yeah. So since coming back from injury, Anthony Simons, 26.4 points per game, 6 assists, 2.9 turnovers, so a better than 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. He's shooting 35% from 3, 44% from the field, 92% from the free throw line. Also getting to the free throw line 5.5 times per game, which is a massive improvement over last year. Is 26-6 not all-star caliber production? I think 26-6 is all-star caliber production. If we were the Los Angeles Lakers, he would be headlining SportsCenter after this loss. Plus, here's the thing. He hasn't even shot the ball well. He's still an efficient 26-point-per-game scorer. When he shoots the ball well, he's going to have more games like this. If he gets his three-point shot back to like what it was last year or the year before, he's 27, 28 points per game. Even more efficient. Only Blazer fans could scoff at a dude that's 28-6 efficiently at 24 years old on a less than max contract. But it's funny because after he signed this contract, people were calling him overpaid. Blazer fans were calling him overpaid. There's a lot of the same Blazer fans that wanted to trade him for like Dorian Finney-Smith a couple of years ago. Just for any role player. There's a lot of the same Blazer fans that wish we drafted Jacob Evans over him. I mean, it's just always been like, we do not respect Ant enough. Stats don't say the whole story like you said. Okay, well, when I watch the game, I see the defense reacting to him like he's a superstar. I see him drawing a ton of attention and kicking out to open shooters or sparking ball movement that gets us open shots. I see him taking over the game when we were struggling on both sides of the floor, and this only became a game because he was able to carry this offense in the fourth quarter. He had 22 points in the fourth. So, I mean, if you're watching the games and you don't think he looks like a star, I don't know what to tell you, man. Gregory says, love Ant, just think he's on a different timeline than the rest of the young kids. He's 24. He's still going to be in his prime 6 years from now. What? We're not supposed to win for 9 years? Like, how long are we supposed to be bad for? Sorry, I'm reading chat. How long are we supposed to be bad for? What is our window supposed to be? Here's the thing. Sharp is good enough, Ant is good enough, that this team could maybe be legitimate in 2 to 3 years' time. Okay? And then if they're not, you also got Scoot to pair with Sharp, who gives you another like 6 years after that. So we should just be patient and work on, in the end, you're going to have to put the right front court around these guards. Whether you have 2 of these guards or all 3 of these guards, you're going to have to put the right front court around them. So, with Ant, you still have time to put that right front court around him. And then if it doesn't work out, down the line, when Ant's established as a star caliber player, then you can trade him for star caliber value, which could help you truly put the best front court around Scoot and Sharp 4 years from now, when those guys are 23, 24. Like, but in today's day and age, everything has to be like now. It's like super reactionary, like, Ant came back, the defense has started struggling a little bit more. That means he's the cause. That means you have to trade him. You gotta trade him right now. It doesn't fit our timeline. Gotta get rid of him. Like, yeah. RWN3 says he bricked all first half, every play, every game, too much ISO. We were like the most ISO, one of the most ISO heavy teams in the league before he came back. That's not an Ant problem. Ant plays in the flow of things. The problem is you come back to a team that's super ISO heavy. But the thing is, like, okay, well, I'll try and score out of this mess of an offense, and then he effectively does it. He's 15 for 28, and then people sit there and nitpick him and say, oh, well, he missed some shots in the first half, and he's playing ISO ball, and he's solely responsible for the defense struggling, so he's awful. It's just ridiculous stuff, man. Ridiculous stuff. So, Ant's a star. Ant's legit. One day, hopefully, more of this fan base appreciates him. But, yeah, it was like we got tired of CJ, wanted to trade him for forever. Then Ant came along, so then we really wanted to trade him, so then they trade him. And when Ant was coming along and everybody was super excited when he was breaking out, I said, watch, he's going to be treated like CJ in the future. He's going to be, same people are going to want to trade him off. And then a lot of those same people wanted to trade Dame off. In the future, there's going to be a lot of people that want to trade Sharp too. And probably Scoot. Just want to trade anything. They should go play 2K. What did CJ accomplish is the same issue. He single-handedly led us to a Western Conference Finals in Game 7 of the second round against Denver. The first time we made the Western Conference Finals in like 2 decades? What do you mean, what did CJ accomplish? He was the second best player on a Blazers team that enjoyed more playoff success than they had since the very early 2000s. I mean, come on. Slim says people act like getting to the Western Conference Finals isn't impressive, especially for this organization. Absolutely. And then we could have made the finals if we didn't screw around and blow like 3 double-digit leads. Tori, wanting to trade CJ was understandable. Poor defender to pair with Dame. O'Shea should have moved off him sooner. Absolutely, but it was like, it needed to be in the right deal, not just any deal. People were willing to ship him for next to nothing, even though it would have made us worse and been pointless. It was kind of the problem that I had. I understand wanting to trade CJ if you got like a Paul George. I said this about CJ 2 on a real contending team and needs to come off the bench. Okay, bro. Just stop. Your takes are awful. Your takes are awful. Just awful stuff. Just ridiculousness. It's the same people that if we were Philadelphia 76ers fans, they'd be saying Tyrese Maxey needs to come off the bench for Pat Beverly. Anyway. Tori, so are you saying Scoot and Ant should play together? Scoot and Ant or Sharp and Ant? And if Scoot and Sharp become superstars, then I guess trade Ant then. Like, you know what I mean? That's a good problem to have. You figure it out, you know, if everything goes that well. But in the meantime, you can't have confidence that both Sharp and Scoot will be noticeably better than the level of play Ant's at right now. Ant or Jaylen Brown, who's better? I think Ant is better offensively. I think Jaylen Brown is better as a player because he's better defensively. I don't know, though. I mean, Jaylen Brown's more proven, but like statistically this year, Ant's been better than him. Okay, I just think in Scoot and Ant play the same position, so playing together, you are taking their strengths away from them. Ant can play off Scoot. Scoot would get Ant a lot of quality shots, in my opinion, if Scoot pans out. I think those guys would play well off each other. Ant can play the one or the two. That's the nice thing about him. Ant and his 8 games. I mean, have you not seen this ascension coming? This is who he's been without Dame. As a lead guard, this is who Ant has been for more than 8 games. Were you suggesting trading Ant for Brown in the summer? Yeah, because I wanted to try and surround the best team around Damian Lillard. Yes. Yes, but Brown has not been as good this year as he was last year, and Dame is gone. Dame wanted Jaylen Brown, and I wanted to keep Dame. So, and Brown as a player made more sense fit-wise next to Dame. Like, yeah, it wasn't out of a lack of respect for Ant at all. Obviously, Ant is amazing, but do you think the undersized Dame and Ant backcourt could have been successful? I think it could have been successful if you had the right defensive 3, 4, and 5 around them, and like one of those guys was able to be a high-level contributor offensively. I don't think Jeremy Grant was necessarily the right defensive 4. I don't trust him on the ball. He can't get through screens. Like, it makes building out the rest of the team more difficult, but I don't think it makes it impossible to build out the rest of the team and get a contender. Just makes it harder. But the thing is, if you don't have 2 high-caliber scoring guards, then sure, you can surround them with a better defense, but building out a contending level offense is harder, right? So it's like, it's different problems. It's obviously tricky to, like, come to a conclusion in terms of team building, but the issue is the Blazers overpay and overvalue too many players. They didn't overpay Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is a steal. Anthony Simons is playing like a dude on a max contract. Look at Jordan Poole. Look how much Jordan Poole's making. Look at Jordan Poole. I would much rather have Anthony Simons than Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole today had a worse game than Ant has had all year. 4 for 13, over 4, 13 points, 6 assists. Maybe I don't remember correctly, but I believe Jordan Poole's making more money than Anthony Simons. Like, and that dude plays for flash, not substance. Yeah, Jordan Poole is on a 4-year deal. Average annual value is $32 million a year. First year of this 4-year deal for him. Anthony Simons is in the second year of a 4-year deal. Average annual value $25 million a year. So per year, $7 million cheaper. And he's much better. Tyler Hero's making more money. I don't think Tyler Hero's any better than Anthony Simons. So, yeah, Anthony Simons is not overpaid in the least. Tyler Hero, his first year of a 4-year deal, average annual value $30 million. Ant's average annual value $25 million. He gets compared to these players. When you take into account his contract, I think he's the best out of the 3. I think you can make an argument between him and Tyler Hero. I don't think Jordan Poole belongs anywhere in that conversation at all. At all. Simons isn't overpaid. Ayton and Grant are. I absolutely agree with Ayton. Grant, I don't know if I agree on Grant. At the time, it felt like it was, but what he gives you offensively, the fact that he's not like a negative on defense, I don't know if he's much of a positive, but he's definitely not a negative on defense, is something a lot of teams would love to have. So I think teams would be willing to trade at least 2 first-round picks for him at the deadline this year, which suggests to me that he's not overpaid. Okay, the dude that was hating on Ant earlier is saying Ant for Miles Bridges and 2 picks. So you want a domestic abuser. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. This would be a dream deal. So you like domestic abuse. Got you. Absolutely a troll. What a troll. Anyway, with that, let's do Tankathon and get out of here. Give me a second. What do we do with the troll, chat? What do we do with the troll? What do we do with the troll? We are a democracy here, okay? I don't make the decision. Chat makes the decision. Okay. There we go. There's the chat poll. What do we do with the troll that wants Miles Bridges? And we will see the conclusion after Tankathon. So let me pull that up here. Alrighty. So Blazers, 4th, alone. 48% chance of top 4. 12.5% chance of the number 1 overall pick. Only way they could have better odds is by getting into the top 3, which they are 1 game closer because they just lost to the Washington Wizards, who are 2 games worse than them. Now, it might seem like there's no difference between 1, 2, and 3 since they have the same odds as the top 4 and the number 1 overall pick, but if you're not in the top 4, then it does matter. Like, the lowest Detroit could fall is 5 if they're not in the top 4. The lowest San Antonio could fall is 6 if they're not in the top 4. Lowest Washington could fall is 7. So there isn't as much of a difference between those picks, and at that point, like 5 and 7, who really cares? So there's not much of a difference between the top 3. Obviously, if Portland could jump from 4 to 3, their odds at the top 4 pick would go up 4%. Odds at the number 1 pick would go up 1.5%. Also, Golden State's pick is now tied for 11th with Brooklyn's pick. Brooklyn's pick to Houston, Golden State's to Portland. Look at the Lakers, 15 and 14. They have been struggling, lost 4 in a row. That pick goes to New Orleans. Lots of traded picks in this year's first round already. So after the trade deadline, really interested to see what the first round draft picture looks like. Let's simulate the thing and scroll up from the bottom. Hopefully we can have lottery luck without Eric, so I can say he's bad luck when he's back. I don't think we've gotten the first pick all year this year. Chat, remind me if I'm wrong. At 14, Phoenix. At 13, Lakers pick to New Orleans. At 12 is Golden State's pick to Portland. At 11 is Brooklyn. At 10 is Atlanta. 9, Chicago. 8, Toronto to San Antonio. 7 is Utah. 6 is Charlotte, moving down 1 spot. So this should be Portland at 5, and it's San Antonio. So Portland is in the top 4 with Memphis, with Washington, and with Detroit. At 4 is the Detroit Pistons, who have lost a whopping 25 games in a row. They were favored today and lost. At 3 is Washington. So Portland top 2. At 2 is Memphis. And at 1 is your Portland Trail Blazers. Eric is bad luck. We've proven it on this stream. The Blazers get the number 1 pick. Take Alex Sarr. And he is our version of Wemby. Our version of Chet. Yeah, Blazers get number 1 pick. Better take Alex Sarr. You take Alex Sarr in that scenario. I feel like Joe Cronin might take Matas Buzelis. Anyway, that is Tankathon. Let's go. We got the number 1 pick, baby. Oh man, this is close between permaban and ban for rest of stream. 36% permaban, 35% ban for rest of stream, 29% say nothing. So I think we go with a rest of stream ban. Go in the middle because it was very even. Anyway, chat. It's funny. Rest of stream ban, even though it's like we're going to be out of here in 5 minutes anyway. Thank you for watching. Live again on Saturday. That stream might be a little later if I have to run it because Eric's feeling sick and I'm celebrating Christmas on Saturday. I got a sister and a mother that work in the medical field, so working Christmas is a thing. So, we'll see what things look like on Saturday. I got a live show at 10 a.m. tomorrow on BetUS TV. I am doing a show with BetUS now once a week, and it's like an all-sports show. I'm the NBA guy. Occasionally, I'll get to argue other sports with other creators from said sports, which is kind of daunting, but it's fun. So if you guys want to check that out, show me some love, I would greatly appreciate it. Because we are trying to get this show off the ground. We got, this show airs 5 times a week. Every day is a different sport. So it's pretty cool. They have good creators that I work with personally. My creator network that I help run, all the creators are from that network. It's a partnership with my creator network, which is Hog Media, as shown on the bottom ticker. So if you want to go subscribe to that channel and check out that stream tomorrow, I just dropped it in the live chat. I'll also put it in the description if you're watching back afterwards. Also, if you need a last-minute Christmas gift and think you can get your Manta mask shipped to your place in time, got 4 days left. There's also a link for that in the description box below. Promo code Uprise 10% off. You can get yourself a last-minute Christmas present if you're stressing about the fact that you've procrastinated until now. Connor says, speaking of Hog Media, I think Borna was trying to get your attention again. Yeah, he just said hi. Did he say anything else? I don't think so. He didn't text me either. Anyway, BetUS TV is in the chat and in the description. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead. Mad Mobile 415 says, I got a Manta mask and have had great dreams ever since. No stress anymore. You love to hear it. So I can't guarantee it, but you might have a vivid dream of the Blazers winning a championship if you get a Manta mask. Only one way to find out. And that's to use that link. Use that promo code Uprise. One final question. Why don't they play Kamara that much? I mean, he got hurt at the end of this game, so I think that played into it. But defensively, he is our best player. He's, in my opinion, if you value Matisse Thybulle's like steals and blocks, sure. Kamara stays in front of ball handlers with more consistency and is much more well-rounded than Thybulle. So I prefer him defensively. He's bigger than Thybulle, more versatile, more switchable. Just much more rounded defensive foundational piece. We need a couple more defenders like Kamara. Kamara is what people thought Jeremy Grant was defensively. So I love Tamani. We'll talk more about Tamani in the future, of course. And offensively, he started to get things cooking a little bit. Didn't do much today, 2 for 3, 0 for 1 from 3. But for a defensive player, like, he doesn't have to do too much to have an impact, which is kind of nice. Kind of nice. Troy, when was the last time Blazers played on Christmas? It was against the Jazz a few years ago, and I just remember they got blown out, and it was depressing. On Christmas today, my 49ers play the Ravens, which could be a Super Bowl preview. So that'll be fun. And then on New Year's Day, we got Blazers play the Suns, but I'm not going on Gabe's watch party because the Huskies are playing. I'm a Washington fan. Sorry if you're an Oregon fan and hate that. I live in Washington State, so it makes sense. But Washington plays in the college football playoffs, so hopefully, I've never seen any of my teams ever win a championship. If the Niners or the Huskies don't get it done this year, I don't know what to say, man. It better happen this year. Get that. The first time I would have ever felt a team winning a championship. I don't know what it feels like. So, hopefully the Blazers would be not too far behind, and hopefully they can make some progress over the next couple seasons towards winning something. Especially a championship. Anyway, chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching the stream. I always appreciate every one of you that makes the chat as lively as you do. Except if you want Miles Bridges, because that's kind of weird to troll, to joke about that. But shout out to all you guys that watched this stream. Appreciate the community that you guys help create and that you guys are a part of. Truly do. None of this would be cool without having the live chat, without having the community. So shout out to all of you. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this edition of the Blazers Uprise postgame show. The Blazers lose to the Wizards. Because, of course, they do. 118-117. Chauncey, questionable. Maybe we'll get Eric's thoughts on it on Saturday on that post-game show. But, yeah, that's a wrap. So, we'll see you. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good Friday. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!